Hello, how you doing? This is Dadler Soul Sessions. My name is Jim. I meant to have a little sign saying what my name was, and I've done one for everyone else on this stream and not my own. I'm just going to put me there. You go. I'm just going to put me my email address up there. I mean, why not? If you want to get in contact, please do. It would make me feel very happy. We have got an absolutely corking show for you this evening. It is the Dadler Soul Sessions coming up. We're talking to Kristian Coburn, who is making a documentary about sea swimming and the importance of it and how it can kind of invigorate you and why people do it. So it'll be fascinating to hear from him in a few minutes. Then we've got our conflict management guru, Alex, who'll be here again answering your questions at about 8:45 this evening. And then from about 9 o'clock, we'll talk to Ben Moorhouse, who is a dad. He suffered stillbirth with his first child and went through all sorts of additional hideous experiences from that, and from that kind of resolved to make things better, to do things to either help dads who are in that situation and don't feel like they get the support that they need, or to just try and help save babies' lives as well. So he's raising hopefully a lot of money for Tommy's by doing an absolutely crazy extreme challenge. He does extreme challenges. That's what he does. He'll tell you more about those later on. Walking around the perimeter of roads in the height of summer is one of them that he's done a couple of times now. This one's going to be walking from London to Manchester, but non-stop. None of this, I'll do 8 hours a day and then have a little bit of a rest and a foot rub. No, he's going to be doing it non-stop, London to Manchester. And he's going to be raising money for Tommy's, which is an amazing cause. And he's a fascinating bloke, is Ben. You'll be able to hear from him a little bit later on. So this is Dadler Soul. This is what we do. We bring dads together. We talk about dad stuff. We have play dates. Next one is this weekend, where you can come along to Colonnade House. No, not there. Guildcare in Worthing, and you can bring your kids and you can get involved in some craft, maybe something like this, for instance. This is child's craft. Just, if you turn it upside down, sometimes it doesn't quite look like you intended. So if you want to do that, get onto dadlersoul.com, go to our events page, and you can find out how to get tickets for that. It's this Saturday in Worthing at Guildcare. And so all the details are there. You can find out more about that. We also have Dads Only meetups. We had the latest one of that last week. That was at Freedom Works, the Mill Building in Worthing as well, where people got to play out the free pool. They got to do the free VR headset stuff and just meet up and have a chat as well. There was also free beer as well from Bedlam Brewery. So thank you very much to Bedlam Brewery for helping us out with that. If you want to know more about the next one, it's going to be the next month. It's the third Thursday, but you find all the dates once again at dadlersoul.com. and go to the events page there. We also have Private Dads WhatsApp group. You can find the link to that. You can email me, in fact. My email address is there, and I will pass on the link to that. And we have a private group as well on Facebook. You might even be watching from that, where this week we put up this image and asked you to make a band name edible. And thank you to all of the people who did that. Some of my favorite suggestions were Can't Believe It's Slipknot Butter. Pretty good. Iron Supplements Maiden. See, it doesn't have to be a tasty treat, does it? It just has to be edible. Green Onions Day. Wafer Thin Lizzie, which I love. Dexy's Midnight Snack. Blancmange 2. And an absolute perfect one that seems so ripe for the picking, but I can't believe I'd not thought of it before. Oreo Speedwagon. So well done to all the people who came up with those. There is serious chat on the private group as well. It's one of those places. It's, it's where it's just dads. We all get together and we all have a little bit of a chat, and we can vent. We can ask for advice. We can give support. And it's the sort of place where you can do that in private without worrying about anyone else seeing that. So make sure that you get onto that. Just go to Dadler Soul on Facebook, and then there'll probably be a link to the private group, or just put Dadless Soul private group into your search bar, and you will find more information there. So first of all, I think it's time to bring on our first guest. First guest today is Kristian. How you doing, Kristian? You all right?
Not bad. Good to see you, Jim. How you doing? You right?
Yeah, I'm really good, thank you.
Good.
So, what are you doing? Why are you making films about sea swimming? What's all that about?
I'm a filmmaker. I live in Worthing. I normally make films. I produce commercials, boring online content that you probably skip through on Facebook and other such websites. That's my sort of bread and butter stuff. I'm into getting in the sea. I like to swim, but I'm generally a kind of summertime type of a swimmer. Get my paddleboard out, have a splash with the kids. But over the winter that we're just coming out of, a friend of mine, Adam, who's also part of the Dadless Soul gang, it was a rainy Tuesday morning, freezing cold in January, and he said, "I'm going for a swim. Fancy it?" And I was like, not really. It's absolutely free. It was raining. It was like a really miserable day. I said, "I'm all right for that, thanks." He said, "Seriously, come along. It'd be good." So I went and I jumped in the freezing cold sea, and it was amazing. It just blew the cobwebs away and really gave me a jolt, and was like, actually, that was great. And it stayed with me for the rest of that day. It was really like a livener, So I went back with him a couple of days later and did it again. And I've been doing it 2, 3, 4, 5 times a week ever since then. And I've become quite addicted to getting in the sea and having a swim.
Yeah. And there's this whole community of people who are doing it as well. This the seedy underbelly of Worthing is getting in the sea.
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing just how many people are doing it, and I think it has kind of exploded in popularity. I think a lot since lockdown. I think social settings shutting down and people being restricted in their movements. It's something you can do for free and as a good form of exercise. But no, I from starting having regular dips with Adam, started seeing the same people at the beach, where I go, where we go swimming, and just started chatting as you do with these people. You see a group of people doing the same activity. We got chatting, and that particular group is called the Were Folk, as in Worthing, nice. Mermaid folk, mermen folk, Were Folk. And so we got chatting to them and realized there's quite a lot of them who do it. And pretty much every day, someone from that group is out there, kind of weather dependent. And then we got chatting to them and they said, "Oh, have you swum with the Blue Tits yet?" And we said, "No, we haven't swum with the Blue Tits." So we met another group called the Blue Tits who meet a bit further up the coast. And then it was Adam swims with a bunch called the Sea Sploshers. And then it was the Mental Health Swims. Worthing Mental Health Swims is another group that meet up once a month near the pier, just outside Coast Cafe. So there's all these little kind of groups and happenings that are completely independent of each other, all doing this activity all year round, and for all the different reasons that people do it. And so, to answer your question that you asked in the first place, it's why am I making a film about it? Being a filmmaker, I'm always on the lookout for just an interesting story, and getting to chat to a few of these good people and actually swimming with them. There's something about the nature of the activity, especially in winter. If you're getting in the sea with someone in very icy, cold conditions, and you're getting ready together and you're going in, it's a real shared experience. And what I found is that very quickly people open up. People talk about lots of things that are going on. And that kind of openness is something that that appealed to me, just as a filmmaker, but also just as someone who's interested in people, And so I started hearing stories about, addiction, trauma, bereavement, physical pain, PTSD, all these things that people were telling me, those are the reasons why they swim. So aside from have a bit of exercise, go and see your mates, have a cup of tea on the beach, get in the sea. There seems to be a lot more fundamental reasons why people do it, and the things that people get out of it are really fundamental as well. You know, I'm talking to a lot of people about anxiety, depression, how it helps with those things. And not just when they're in the water, it's something that will last into your day. And I've experienced that myself. You know, you could be having a shit day, you jump in the sea, and it's just, it just clears all that away and gives a really it's a lot of natural endorphins, and there's a lot about the vagus nerve. There's quite a lot of science to it, which I'm just getting to get my head around, speaking to some quite interesting people and doing a bit of research. So there's a lot to it. And I'm trying to condense this into a short film of maybe 12 to 15 minutes. So we'll see.
There's a lot to get in there. I imagine as a filmmaker, though, when you've got people, it's glorious to be able to get something that helps open people up immediately, because I mean, I've kind of interviewed, I've done radio most of my career, and you interview people, members of the public, or obnoxious pop stars or whatever, and you're just desperate for that one thing that you can get to unlock them and to get them talking. And I guess it's ready-made there, isn't it? Because you are going through that shared experience.
Exactly that. It's ready-made and it's instant. You know, I've never had an activity. I've never been involved in an activity where, first of all, I've not met a single arsehole, honestly, genuinely. All of these people are really sound, and from all walks of life. You know, there's a lot of different people with different stories. They're all lovely. That's one thing I'd say. And the other thing is just this instant rapport with people. Like, oh, you're one of us. You jump in the sea. You jump in the sea in January or February. You're one of those nutters. And it's like, yeah. But there's so many people doing it. Have you tried it yourself, Jim?
Oh, well, you see, unfortunately, I live in West Yorkshire. I'm so far from the sea, I can't.
There's always a puddle somewhere, or a pond, or a stream, or a river, or a lake.
You know what I do? I'm interested in it. We have got a river actually that flows through our village, so I should probably jump in there at some point. What would your advice be for taking that first step? Because I always think, like, I guess if I was ever to do a bungee jump, which I definitely wouldn't, but the worst bit would be taking the step, the one step that jumps you off. And I imagine that's probably the worst thing about the sea in winter, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's about easing into it, you know.
Right.
One thing I've really been aware of with this community of people, it's a very non-competitive, non-ego-led environment. So you're very much, you know, you go at your own pace. Like I know when I know my limits. You know, if the waves look too big or the tide's too strong, I'm like, I'm not going in today. You know. But if you're trying it out for the first time, literally just dip your toe in.
Literally that, yeah.
Have a paddle, get ankle deep, and then get knee deep, and then you know get up to your midriff. I mean, as a man,
that's the difficult step, yeah.
Once your bollocks are in, you're in, basically. So
wait a second, I think I might just change the title of this show to "Once your bollocks are in, you're in."
Well, it's true. I mean, once you pass that point, you're in, basically. But it's amazing how quickly your tolerance levels, or at least mine anyway, go up. You know, when I first started going in, there's a lot of whooping and a lot of woo, you know, in for 2 or 3 minutes at a time. And that was me. And, you know, I was in this afternoon. It's a pretty windy, rainy day here in Worthing. I was in for 20, 25 minutes. So, yeah, your tolerance goes up quite quickly. Cold showers are a good thing as well, which, you know, not that long ago, I'd have been like, no, Charlie, why would you want a cold shower? You know, it's a nutty thing to do. But it gives you that same rush of endorphins. It kind of triggers that same feeling. And it's a good way of again, getting your tolerance levels up to the cold water. If it's something you want to give a go, it's in a safe environment. You can always jump out the shower or turn it back on hot. You know, that's the advice I'd give.
And are you still looking for people to take part in the film, or is it
absolutely editing
process now?
Yeah, I mean it's it's one of those things that it could go on forever because there are so many people doing it, and every day I'm discovering new stories and new people. Just today, in fact, I was on the phone to a woman who, where we live in Worthing, there's a wind farm that's I think 10 miles or so off the coast, and this woman in 2020 swam out to this wind farm and back again.
Wow.
Took 11 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. She had a support boat and everything else, but I mean, hardcore. She's up for being in the film, so I'm going to be speaking to her. So when it's, absolutely, I'm up for speaking to as many people, to get as many different voices in as possible. And actually, the one thing I really wanted to say with this platform with Dad La Soul is I encourage people to do it. I encourage men to do it. This is an activity predominantly done by women for some reason. I don't know why. It's one of the questions I'm asking people when I interview them. It's about 85% female. But the benefits are amazing, man or woman. So I'd absolutely encourage blokes to get out there and give it a go. The Dad La Soul crew down here in Worthing have a semi-regular group that go out. Tyler, I've seen, just popped up popped up on the comments there. Dan also bigging up the t-shirt there.
He says you look dead sexy in it. So.
Well, it's very kind, Dan. I'll give you that $5 later on. Yeah, by all means, come and join us. You can get me on Instagram. It's just add water Worthing, all with underscores, just underscore add underscore water underscore Worthing. And you can get me there. I'm actually going to be out filming next week on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday here on the beaches in Worthing. It's looking like the weather's going to be decent and the tide is in our favour. It's always good to swim around high tide, or at least the slack tide, which is normally about 3 hours either side of high tide. I like to go in a bit before, because then the water's kind of pushing you towards the coast rather than dragging you out,
Yeah, that's better. Otherwise you end up at that wind farm. Yeah,
exactly that. Yes. So by all means, if anyone's up for it, there's one or two contributors we'll be interviewing from Dad La Soul next week. Absolutely up for hearing from more voices, especially menfolk. So get in touch. Yeah.
You've heard Dad La Soul, audience. If you do want to get in contact about anything, by the way, you can leave a comment like Dan and Tyler have done. Kristian, well, I mean, good luck with it. And maybe I will. I need to come to Worthing at some point. I've worked with Dan for years and I've never actually been to Worthing. So maybe I'll come down and...
it's buzzing. There's a lot going on down here. We've got a great beach, and there's a really good Dad La Soul crew down here as well. You'd be very, very welcome to join us, Jim. It'd be good to meet you.
Good. Kristian, thank you very much. Cheers for your time.
Thank you. Cheers.
Right. And now we have waiting in the wings. Oh, it looks like he's at work again as well. This is exciting. It's Alex, our conflict management expert. Alex, how are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. I'm excited that we have this amazing setting of you in this, like, it's a very evocative place, isn't it? We know what that place smells like.
Well, it's my GP surgery, so yeah, it's what it is. You could see what it is, and I'm still here, and it's 9:15. I've been here since 8 o'clock this morning, and I will be here probably until pretty much midnight.
And you're still wasting your time talking to us. Oh my goodness.
Well, it makes a nice change for me. I enjoy it. I apologise if you see my arm moving out every so often. It's because I've got one laptop here on 3 screens, another laptop there, and another laptop up there, and I have to keep them all active and going.
Right. Okay. This is like a very 21st century spinning plates Britain's Got Talent performance then. And it's paused. There you go. Maybe one of those plates has unspun. There we are. Hopefully Alex will be back. Here he comes again. There we go. Did one of those laptops not work?
Well, no, it's the fact it's on an NHS connection, which is always iffy at the best of times.
All right. Well, we have had some questions put in. People can add comments and stuff if you want, wherever you're watching this, whether you're on one of the Facebook channels, YouTube, or on Twitter, and be able to put additional questions to Alex. But we have got some anyway that have come in beforehand. So this one says, how do you avoid point scoring but maintain fairness when talking about free time away from the family for each partner? My wife thinks I've had weekends away last year because I went away to a funeral for one of my mates and then a memorial for what would have been his birthday 6 months later. So obviously the other half says, well, you've had 2 weekends away. But to him, this dad, that doesn't really particularly seem like a fun weekend away. So what can we do there?
Yeah, I totally get that. Every year I go away for a week to Bristol with 120 10-year-olds. As the medical cover for them. It's not exactly a holiday for me. It's absolutely knackering. But as far as my wife is concerned, I've still had a week away on a jolly in Bristol. If you've never been to Bristol, it's well worth going. So I understand this. It's it's actually about sort of a negotiation. Yeah, you can say that you've been away, in this case, to a funeral and a memorial service. But you did have time away from the family, time away presumably from kids, and you get to a certain point in being a dad where actually time away from your kids is precious. You enjoy it. It's not that you don't love your kids, it's just time away from them is good. And so it's try and move it away from point scoring. Absolutely, you don't want it to be point scoring, but what you do want it to be is, well, yeah, I went away, I had a couple of weekends away, they were tough weekends, but we had a good laugh as well because we were remembering the good times, etc. I don't want to go into bereavement talk here, but from the point of view of your wife, say to her, well, yeah, I had those weekends away and you had the kids at that stage, so therefore I'm very happy to have the kids if you want to go somewhere. So pitch it around that way. It's about who had the kids, who's looking to support the other parent by giving the other parent time away from the kids. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Point scoring is never a good idea, but we all do it. It's human nature. Yeah, it is human nature. Yeah. But to try and sort of put a different spin on it, no, it's not sort of, oh, well, I had time off, so I suppose I had time away, so I suppose you should have time away. No, it's okay. Yeah, thank you for letting me go. Thank you for saying I could go. Whether she did or she didn't, I don't know what the dynamic was there. But it was great to be able to go and celebrate my mate in this case. I want to, I think it's only fair that I say to you, do you want to go away with your girlfriends or go and stay with your family or whatever you want to do, yeah, and I'll have the kids for the weekend or whatever, yeah. And certainly from my own relationship experience, my wife had a job for many years that involved traveling, so she was forever going away. So I was frequently looking after the kids, which was fine because it was her job and I understood that, and that's why she never had a problem when I went off as a voluntary job. I certainly didn't get paid to do it with 120 10-year-olds. No amount of money would compensate me for 120 10-year-olds, I can assure you. I do it for the love of looking after kids and seeing their faces when they have a new experience. But it is about the fact that you're not trying to point score, you are trying to simply enjoy the time you have together. But as every relationship counsellor will tell you, you need to enjoy the time you have apart as well, because it makes the time together that much more special.
Absolutely. My daughter went on brownie camp the other day, and you wouldn't have been able to pay me enough money to swap places with those brownie leaders. I felt, as I was walking away, and just the screams that were coming from the building as I was going, see you later, see you on Sunday.
Yeah, it's a fantastic feeling. All my kids, as regular viewers will know, are in their teens now, so they sort of look after themselves a lot more. But I remember when my wife and I went away for my birthday, and I think they were all primary school age at the time, and we farmed them out, to different people. It was brilliant having just time away, absolutely brilliant. And that can be time away together or time away as separates and individuals with your mates, with their girlfriends, etc.
Well, on a teenager theme, the next question, my 15-year-old wants to go to a festival by herself this year, but I've said no. She's too young to travel across the country without an adult, even if there would be a few of them going. She's threatening to go on hunger strike. How do I talk her round? What happens there?
Right, well, I did a quick bit of research. I looked at Leeds, Reading and Glastonbury, which are three, I think everybody would agree, are three pretty big festivals. None of them will allow you in if you're under 16 without an adult. And the Glastonbury site very specifically says who would be expected to be a parent or guardian.
Right.
So actually, she ain't going to get in. I would agree with you. My daughter is 17, so yes, she could go to Glastonbury if she wanted to, but I wouldn't let her, even if she was going with her mates, simply because, you know, I've actually provided a medical cover at some of these events, and I see what's going on. I've seen the dark side of it, so I'm probably biased. But you know, it is something that, you know, absolutely I would not want a underage teenager going to, and she probably wouldn't get in anyway. So that's one thing you need to say, is you won't get in without being with somebody over the age of 18 who has to be, in quotes, all of the sites said responsible adult. And then Glastonbury went further and said that would be expected to be your parent or guardian. Of course, there is another option. You go with her and her friends, and then you relive your youth. And once you're inside, you sort of let her go on her own a bit. You know, that's one option that you can do. So at least you're on site to help if there's a problem. And as I say, flip side, you get to relive your youth.
Yeah, that's true. You know, I mean, I don't know if you'd want to go to the same festivals as your child. I was looking at the Shine On Festival earlier today with fans like Ash playing. I'm not sure my kids would be bothered about that, but there we go.
Well, no, quite. You know, I mean, I would agree. Although I'm lucky in the fact that I have a 15-year-old son who plays guitar and is into proper 60s, 70s, and 80s rock. So he and I would probably have a good time at a festival together. But I do totally get it. You know, Glastonbury is always a good option. I'd go and watch a legend slot quite happily, whoever the legend is, because it's going to be our vintage, and they can go off to one of the other stages. But yeah, I get what you're saying. But no, in conclusion, too young to go, and actually the festival organisers won't allow her in. So
perfect. So you could just say, I'd love to let you go, but the festival organisers, what can I do? Oh, there we go.
Exactly. Yeah.
I went to see Little Mix with my daughter the other week, so I'm still haunted by that, to be perfectly honest.
I got out of that because my daughter went to see a Little Mix and her godmother took her.
Oh, did not realise that was an option. Curses. Should have thought about that. Right, and third question then is, I'm dreading my two being at home all week next week. They're great at school, but they wind each other up at home to the point where I feel like I'm refereeing an MMA match all the time. They're both boys. They're age 6 and 9. What can I do?
Right. Sibling rivalry. I think a couple of sessions ago, we had a similar question actually about siblings fighting. Siblings will fight. Full stop, end of story. It's going to happen. It's about how you deal with it. Yeah, and that's the best way. Some of the things that we've done in my family, some of the things that I've had both friends say to me and other family members say to me, and some of the things that my patients over the years have said. And I've sort of had a big sort of think and try and come up with some, or remember those ideas. One that I remember was actually a patient of mine told me that she wrote down loads of chores around the house that need to be done. She happened to have access to a laminator, so she then laminated them in little strips, yeah, shoved them all in a jar, in an old jam jar, and called it the job jar. And when they fought, she said, right, there you go, hands in. They would have to pick out a chore. They wouldn't get to choose what it was. It would, whatever would come out. So, you know, clean the bathroom, hoover the stairs, empty the dishwasher, whatever it might be, and then they'd have to do it. Yeah. That was quite a good incentive to do it. Yeah. There's don't come up to their level, and I know I've said this on numerous occasions with conflict management. They're up there, you're here. Don't come up a little bit, and you start to try and bring them down to you. Yeah. There's always the separate them. Yeah. You know, you can put them outside. Yeah. For a time, we were in a house with a step and a patio, and they would go and sit on the step. You know, if it was raining, it was a little bit awkward because how far could I go before it became a safeguarding issue? But you know, one-on-one time. This is a really interesting one. It's about actually, and this is really hard when you have any dad out there who's got, yeah, it's about one-on-one time. Spend time one-on-one with one child. And we have in our household what we call a day with that child. Yeah. So these are random, but you might have Andy Day. You then might have Fiona Day if your kids are called Andrew and Fiona, for example. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So try and actually specifically say, right, for the next 2 hours, it may not have to be a whole day, we're going to do something together. You entertain yourself, or if there's 2 parents or 2 adults that can accommodate, one each, whatever, that's a good way of doing it. So they get time to themselves. So time with them, with one parent, that's important. Yeah. Another thing that you can do is simply try and get them to work together. Yeah, work together on something. So give them a mutual fun task. Yeah, something to do together. Yeah, and try and have these pre-planned so that you don't have to use them if you don't need them, but you can use them if you do need them. And then, you know, it's always about routine is always good. You know, have a regular routine that they need to follow. That tends to keep it a little bit more like school, because that's where the difference is. It's the routine of school going into the routine of nothing at home. So try and have a routine, yeah, like they would have at school. There's a lovely expression, catch them being good, as opposed to catching them being naughty, catch them being good. So when they are doing something good and productive and positive, congratulate them on it, so that they hear the congratulation for being good, as well as, if necessary, the telling off for being naughty. Otherwise, it's if you sit down the middle, they only ever see the naughty side if that's all you ever talk to them about, if you only ever tell them off. Yeah, when you see them doing something good, tell them that, because actually, naturally, they want to please, and they will therefore look to seek more of that if they start to get it. Yeah, and of course, you know, if there's 2 parents and you are having a disagreement, then they will feed off that. So try to show that you can get along together. I appreciate in some blended families, in some co-parenting situations, that can be hard work. That can be difficult, granted.
Or just 3 days into half term. Like...
Yeah, or just 3 days into half term. Who's actually got the energy to get up and, quote, not for real, kill the kids because they've had enough of them. Yeah, but you've got to get the energy to get up and actually do that because you're that knackered by that point. So yeah, see how it goes. And also, you know, lastly, I would say, know what is likely to be a flashpoint and try and avoid those. Yeah, if you've only got one scooter, yeah, don't allow one of them to play on it because it will freak out the other one. That's guaranteed to happen, unless, of course, the one that's on the scooter is the one that's not having the one-on-one time with a parent. Then you can get away with it. Yeah. And finally, actually help them learn to become adults and try and get them to work it out if you can. That's always a fallback option.
I would like to say at this point, there was a lot of great advice there. If you want to go back over any of the advice given, you can watch these videos. They'll still be on Twitter, on YouTube, and on Facebook. And you can go back, especially when you are about 3 days into half term. You're like, oh, what did Alex say again? Let's go back and you can find out more. That's definitely a way of doing it. Alex, thank you so much for joining us once again. It's always an absolute joy, and really appreciate your wise words and, you know, for still being at work all this time after you started.
That's okay, no problem. I will have to say goodbye, unfortunately, because I have got a patient waiting to be seen, but I will catch up with you next time.
No worries. Thank you very much, Alex. Really appreciate it. And so we are nearly at the time for our main guest of the evening. Oh, that sounds rude to the other guests, doesn't it? But the big interview, I guess, is what it is. And it is a man who's doing an amazing thing. And I thought we'd find out more information about what he's doing. So hello, Ben. How you doing? You all right? Oh, he can't hear me and we can't hear him. Have you turned the... have you allowed it to use your microphone? Do you want to maybe log out and log back in again, maybe? This is like a little mime thing, isn't it? What was that show with Lionel Blair? Guess My Line. That's what it was like. I love that. Hey, let's have a look at a little video while we're waiting for that. This is from last week's Dad's Only meetup, which we had at Freedom Works at the Mill Building in Worthing. And we had a new dad. Well, we had a number of new dads there. A new dad for us, first time at a Dadless Soul event. And so we managed to push him into a corner and make him record something for us, like one of those videos that you get where they go, they're treating us very well. Thank you very much. So this is what Adam had to say.
I have lived in Worthing for about 7 years. I've got 2 boys, aged 6 and 4. But I'm probably haven't got into Worthing life really as much as I'd like. So I thought I've been meaning to come for months, years, and decided to just come along tonight. So yeah, bit the bullet. Walked in like first day at school. Met down, said hello to the guys, and very pleasantly surprised.
What were you expecting?
A group of blokes who probably, hopefully, were a little bit like me. A bit more than just talking about football, going to the pub, having a beer, curry, maybe somewhere to just get things off my chest that maybe I don't get to talk about at home or with my wife. And yeah, it's been good.
Yeah, enjoyed it.
Ticked all the boxes, yeah, it's been really good. I'll definitely come back if you'll have me.
And that is what we do at those Dad's Only events. So if you want to know more about that, go to dadlesssoul.com and you can find out more at the events page. This weekend, as I say, Saturday in Worthing, Guildcare, it is a dads and kids play date, and you can bring along your kids and you can do some craft. And that's what we're doing. You're letting your crafting brain go wild. And if you fancy doing that, then make sure you get onto dadlesssoul.com. Go to the events page and you'll find all the ticket details and information that you need right there. So yeah, crafting, I mean, it doesn't have to be craft that when you turn it upside down, it looks obscene. It's whatever kind of craft you want to do. Right. Hopefully Ben will be able to come on. We'll be able to hear from him. Hello, Ben, are you there? Can we hear you? Oh no. Can't quite work out what might be going on here. I don't know. Well, we'll just leave Ben to kind of try and work out what's going on there. I'll play another little video for you.
Dads that are stay-at-home dads, you've got dads that commute, you've got blended families, you've got stepdads, dads that only have their kids at weekend, and we're all going through these particular challenges, but there's those 3 letters, that DAD, that puts this common thread right the way through it. I've got a 6-year-old called Natty. My last role was a senior analyst for a media agency. What that meant for the family was we were comfortable financially, but I wasn't present. So I'd leave really early in the morning and get home just about in time to put him to bed. I hate to admit it, but it's true. There was some of the periods where I'd put him to bed, but I'd kind of wish him to sleep because I had the phone like that looking at client emails, because that was my priority. And there was a period where the stress of everything got quite considerable, and I ended up getting chickenpox for the 2nd time, courtesy of my son. But that put me confined to barracks for 2 weeks. And I realised then I played with him more in that 2 weeks period than I had done in months. And he was really pleased to have me around a lot more. So that was kind of one of the key deciding factors for me to actually just turn around and quit my job and walk away, because I didn't want to live that life anymore. Dadless Soul is a group that I set up. The idea is every month we have a different theme, and it's the dads contributing. So think, if you're a dad that's an engineer, you're going to be really good at Lego. Come in and teach those skills is so much fun. As a bloke, it's really difficult to maybe organise a play date. You can't really ring up somebody else's wife and say, do you fancy hanging out? Because there's still those negative connotations. It's kind of hard to break into these groups anyway if you're a mum. But if you try and do it as a dad, it's even worse, because the questions come up, why haven't you got a proper job? What are you doing here on a sort of a Monday morning? Are you here to have an affair? or the common one, and it's terrible. You know, people assume you're a paedophile because you actually just want to sit on the floor and play with kids. Just thought, wouldn't it be nice if I created something, a safe space for the dads to get together? Because if you go to mother and baby groups, you are kind of on the outside. But wouldn't it be nice if, you know, we barred the mums and it's just the dads? The most important thing about Dad the Soul, the ability to have a conversation, to be able to sit there or stand there and play and build up a friendship with somebody is a really nice thing. And I think men don't generally talk about those conversations. It's, you know, did you see the match? Or, you know, I'm doing really well. You don't actually stick your hand up and go, you know what, I'm really struggling at the moment and I need some help and I don't know how to ask for help. Being able to have this safe space where to encourage those conversations, yeah, I think that's the number one for me. It's incredibly important for dads and kids to hang out together. You know, kids need strong male role models. You'll see the effect on kids where the dad's not present. They don't have those role models to look up to. You need to be able to show, I think, that, you know, you still can be strong and a provider, but you can also be caring and loving and sensitive. I think there's a massive difference that those three letters, DAD, can have.
Ooh, I'm nearly showed you that video again. Thought you might want to watch again. Right, we're going to try and get Ben on. Hopefully, fingers crossed, this is going to work. Everyone, send good vibes. We need good vibes. Try and do that. Here we go. Is it going to work? Ben, can you hear me?
I can do now.
Yes.
Can you hear me? Oh, hallelujah, hallelujah.
There we go. You see,
Yeah.
Dan, who's the big Uber lord of Dad Le Soul, see, he opted out of this. He jumped out of this. And he still found a way, because I had to have a little filler there while we got you sorted. He found a way to get onto this live stream. This is my thing that I was going to take over and monopolize and not let anyone else have a part of. But there you go. So I should introduce you, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Ben Moorhouse.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I do apologise for the delay and slight technical problem. It's a bit like Eurovision Song Contest, really, isn't it, Jim? You know, it's just, yeah.
That's exactly what it's like, isn't it? Yeah,
It's
when they
yeah.
go over to Moldova or whatever, and like someone's just having a sandwich because they haven't heard that it's their time to do it. Oh, the votes are in. Yes, it's exactly like that. But anyway, you're here. So Ben is a fascinating bloke. Ben has an amazing challenge coming up. So can we let's talk about the challenge first of all, just give the very basics of what the challenge involves, then we'll go back to the backstory and find out more about that. So what is the challenge you are taking on?
Yeah, so on July the 16th, in just 7 weeks, I shall be walking from the Tommy's Research Centre in London, which is very, very close to Westminster Bridge. And I'll be walking 180 miles through to Manchester to the Tommy's Rainbow Clinic and Research Centre, which is based at St Mary's Hospital. I'm not going to do this in a week like most people do, or over a week. In Benmoorhouse style, I'll be going straight through, non-stop with no sleep. So 2 days, 2 nights, no sleep. So yeah, it's going to be a tough one, but yeah, it's going to be straight through London to Manchester, in memory of my our lovely baby girl, Callie Patterer.
And so let's go back to this. So I mean, obviously there is a reason. There's always a reason why people take on these challenges. I mean, even ridiculous challenges like these, which is such an extreme thing to do, that it deserves all the support in the world. So tell us your story.
Yeah, so my story is based on love. Back in October 2018, our daughter Callie Patterer was stillborn at 37 weeks of pregnancy. If people don't know what stillbirth is, that's when a baby dies inside of the mum from 24 weeks or after, or during birth. We had a textbook pregnancy. There was a couple of extra appointments for growth, but apparently everything was okay, nothing to worry about. But yeah, just 2 weeks before her due date, at an extra appointment down the road at the hospital, we found out our daughter had no heartbeat and had died 2 weeks before her due date. And for us, you know, it was and still is the most devastating pain in the world. So yeah, it was complete and utter shock, devastation, heartbreak. But yeah, we were ready. The house was ready. The bedroom was ready. We had all the clothes ironed in the drawers, ready. And then within seconds, as life is just turned upside down once again. But yeah, it's just, even now, Jim, it's just totally destroying. People think because we're 4 years on, and we've got a son who was 2 a couple of days ago, people just think we're okay now, but completely different. You know, not a day goes by where our pain and our grief continues.
And I think if you're in the fortunate position to have never had to experience that, you would expect that the sort of aftercare would be spot on. There'd be somewhere where you'd be able to go, and it didn't quite work out like that, did it?
No, I mean, we were basically, so within a couple of minutes of being told the news, we were basically just given some leaflets. Here's the support available. So there was some group support, a couple of telephone numbers, and because Calipatra was dead inside her mum, we then had to go home for 2 days. It was our choice, but we just couldn't stay at the hospital. So we went home carrying our dead full-term baby for 2 days, in a house which was ready for her. And then we had to return back to the hospital on the very same maternity ward, surrounded by crying babies, to give birth naturally. And yeah, it was a 16-hour labour to a dead baby girl, fully developed, healthy, preventable death. But yeah, with regards to the support, there was, as a dad, I was treated like an alien. There was nothing at all. I was just pushed to the side. As the saying goes, I was meant to be the strong one for my partner. Everybody asked me how Gaynor was, but even now, you know, apart from people who I can count on one hand, 4 years on, who asked, "So how are you, Ben?" Genuinely. And I think we're all too easy, you know, when people say to us, "Oh, how are you? How are you doing?" And it's just all so easy to say, "Oh, we're okay. We're not too bad," you know. But how many of us say we're okay when we're not? And it's, you know, we should be able to just say, "Well, actually, no, I'm not all right," and be able to speak to people. But yeah, as a dad, even now, it's just people think I just expect me to be okay, and I'm not. You know, people see this person who tries to carry on in life, but what goes on behind closed doors, and in my world, is very, very different. And yeah, not a day goes by where I don't cry. You know, and I would have given my life for my daughter to be here okay. But all I can do now is, through her name and legacy, is to help other dads, especially, and to try and save other babies' lives. Because many of these stillbirths are preventable. The fully developed babies, you know, beautiful babies, healthy, and they should be here. They should be alive, and they're not. And this is not just about babies. It's generations of families which are just being wiped out by NHS trusts who just don't have the education or knowledge to know when there's something quite right. And we've all seen recently on the TV and in the media, you know, baby scandals within certain trusts. And I know, and we know as a charity, that there's a lot going on in the UK, and there's so many babies who are dying through stillbirth, neonatal, and something has to be done. And hopefully, with what's happened recently, you know, things will be improving.
So, as you say, there is a lot of these are preventable deaths, and you have been working with Tommy's are the charity that kind of that are really sort of pushing for this, and this is who you're supporting. Yeah,
it is. Yeah, I mean, 2 year ago, after the stillbirth, we did have a miscarriage the year after at 9 weeks, which I know we both say that pregnancy should not have happened. We were misadvised. There was no way mentally, physically, either of us were ready for another pregnancy, but it happened. Sadly, the 9-week-old didn't make it. But then again, I think somewhere down the line it would have happened again, a stillbirth, because we weren't given the full care and love that we deserved. But yeah, it's these preventable deaths. It's such a shame. So many families who they hear the news and the children should be here in person, and yeah, it's just so sad.
And so, how did you find out about this? It's the research that Tommy's are doing, isn't it, in Manchester?
It is. Excuse me. So yeah, 2 year ago, because after the miscarriage, we did promise Callie Patterer that if we could do, we would always have a brother or sister for her, and we decided that to allow us to have the best outcome of a more positive outcome, we had to be looked after by the best in the country, which is Professor Alexander Heasel and his team at the Tommy's Rainbow Clinic and Research Centre in Manchester, and because of their pioneering research for the placenta, especially, we were cared for pre-pregnancy, pre-conception, during the pregnancy, and after. We were put on a very structured care package with specialist drugs to help Gaynor and baby. We were provided support as well, and as a dad, I was given equal support. And yeah, because of their love care research, we have a little 2-year-old Apollon, a little brother for Callie Patterer. But if it wasn't for the love and care of Manchester and their research, things could have been very, very different.
And is this research that is going to sort of then feed into what NHS trusts are going to be able to do? Is this research at a stage now where it can be spread across the country?
It is, yeah. I mean, once the research is proven, it does in time work through the channels of the trust. So all the money I raise, you don't have to go to Manchester to benefit from what I'm doing. Any family who is watching this can benefit from the research through their maternity wards without even realising. So a good example is the sleep on your side campaign through Tommy's, which if you go into any maternity ward, there will be Tommy's posters in there about sleeping on your side and the importance of that. But yeah, that hopefully, in time, their research will be nationalised even more. But yeah, Tommy's for me they are part of our family. Alex Easel, Apollon's Uncle Alex, we love him so much, and the team. And like I say, if it wasn't for the team in Manchester, Apollon would have died. And 2 years ago we had a little party for him. We took him to the Railway Museum in York and had a lovely day with him. But if it wasn't for Tommy's and Professor Heasel, we would have been celebrating a second birthday with another photograph on the fireplace. So we're just so grateful.
Of course. And so, I mean, you started your own foundation in the sort of, to kind of raise money and raise awareness, and that you're kind of working in conjunction then with Tommy's now on what you're doing now with your extreme challenge, aren't you?
Yeah, we are. So the Tommy's team in Manchester are our main beneficiary of the charity. It's one of our main objectives to help to save babies' lives. So after the birth of Apollon, and even if we've always said if that hadn't have gone to plan, we would always support Alex and the team. But yeah, every single penny which I raise through my massive extreme challenge walk. Every single penny goes to the cause. Unlike some, you do see some of the big events in the mainstream media where millions of pounds are raised and you don't know where the money goes, but we can, hand on heart, say every single penny goes to research through Tommy's and through the team in Manchester, and it does help to save babies' lives.
So tell us a bit about this challenge then. How much have you been training for it? I imagine this isn't something you can just go, I'll walk from London to Manchester next week, it'll be fine.
No, yeah, I mean, as you know, I just crack on with it Yorkshire style, a bit of Yorkshire grit and determination. But yeah, I've been at it since January. After my roads challenge last year, I let my hair down quite a bit, so I put some weight back on in recovery. But yeah, since this year, I'm back out training every weekend, covering some miles after work, Monday to Friday. I go to the gym as well, but it's all down to experience now. I've been doing this for the last 7 years, and it doesn't matter how much training you do. There always becomes a point during the challenge where it's about the why you're doing it. And you can train, you could train 50 miles every week, but there comes a point where it's all about why you're doing it. It's the biggest motivation. And I'm sure at some point, naturally, I will want to drop to the floor, but it's my daughter. My daughter will be with me every step of the way. Alex and his team as well. He's my main driving force as well behind this with Callie Patterer. But yeah, it's just a matter of, once again, I keep talking about love, and the love for my daughter keeps me going every week the best I can.
So have you had to plot a special route? Have you worked out the route that's going to be, I don't know, the easiest? Is there an easiest route from London to Manchester on foot? I don't know.
Not really. I mean, there's no easy way about it. Really, you've just got to get from A to B. Gaynor and my support team will be in charge of the route. I do have a rough idea of the journey, but I try not to get too involved with maps and miles, and because it can be a mental block at certain points. So all my focus is on walking, and when I get to a certain point, my support team will just say, walk in that direction for the next 5 miles, and I'll just keep going.
So that's interesting, because I don't want to compare myself to you because I don't do anything like that. But if I go for a run, I like to know exactly where I'm going and exactly how long it's going to be. And I've done a couple of half marathons, and I like to be able to go 3 miles. That's about a quarter of the way. 6 miles, that's almost half. And I like to be able to do that. You're the opposite. You don't want to know at all.
No, because it can be too much of a mental challenge, and even when you're walking, on the main roads, and you can see the signs, or example, there's 100 miles to Manchester. I don't want to know. All I know is, you can't focus on the final destination. Every step is part of the journey, and every step is the next focus. So yeah, I don't think about the final destination. Just every step is the most important thing, and just focus on the here and now, so to speak.
Because this is the thing. This is not like this is the first extreme challenge you've done. So you've done plenty. Let's talk about some of them. Roads. What did you do in roads?
So yeah, I've done a few different walks in roads, but last year was my ultimate challenge in roads. So I walked around the full perimeter of Rhodes Island in Greece in the middle of August at the height of summer. That was 150 mile non-stop with no sleep, and I managed to get round in 42 hours with my support team. But yeah, 30 miles from the finish, I was absolutely knackered. I was seeing double vision for the last 30 mile. I was staggering into the road just through sheer exhaustion, sleep deprivation, and I was so close. I was so close to the end. I really was. But with the help and love and support of my support team, they kept me going the best way possible, and somehow I managed to drag myself to the finish at the top of the island.
I guess the good thing about the last 30 miles to Manchester is it's not likely to be that warm, is it?
Well, hopefully, but if not, I'm sure there'll be a few cups of Yorkshire tea on the way to keep me warm. But yeah, it's going to be very, very different. But every challenge is different in its own right. But I think a lot of people are thinking this is going to be easy for me for some reason because I've done roads. And there was a comment a few weeks ago about the map which I'd posted online, and somebody said, "Oh, well, it doesn't look too far on the map. It's only that small. This on a map, it's totally different." I said, "It does look small on a map, but in reality, it's massive. It's a massive walk."
No. Let's have a look at this, right? I mean, it looks small if you think each one of those dots is a step. Yes, admittedly. To me, that looks pretty horrifying, to be perfectly honest. Don't want to put you off, don't want to scare you or anything, but my goodness, I don't fancy that at all. I won't be coming with you, Ben.
Oh, well, just make sure you don't forget your bags this time, and we'll be all right.
Oh, right, okay. I did come up. Yeah. So another one of the challenges that Ben's done. This is an easy challenge for Ben. For me, it took me about 3 weeks to recover. But I went on the Yorkshire Three Peaks, which is the proper Three Peaks, right? I mean, forget about your Ben Nevis and all that. The Yorkshire Three Peaks is the Three Peaks you want to go on. And I did it raising money for his foundation, and I got everything ready to go, all on the side in the kitchen. Woke up early to drive up to the first of them, got out the car, realized I'd forgotten my bag with all my water and my waterproofs and everything like that. It was a nightmare. Thankfully, there's a pub after the first mountain, so I fueled my walk around with nuts and crisps. That was about it. So that's why I'm not coming with you. I'm ill prepared. Talking of preparations, Tyler's got your contact. It says, out of curiosity, can you share your fuel intake? Really inspiring stuff, Ben. Huge respect and dadless soul love to you, mate. So on this walk, you're walking. I mean, how far is it again? You say
180 miles. So yeah, 180.
How are you going to fuel that? What's going to be going into your body there?
Yeah, I mean, once again over the years I've learned by my mistake, so to speak, and yeah, I mean the main thing is don't eat too much all the time. It's just about eating frequently but small amounts. So plenty of high protein nuts, lots of pasta when possible. A mate of mine said as well a few weeks ago, try and get a few pork pies down you as well at the start, just to try and burn some low release energy. But no, I'm very, very lucky as well, because I've got a supplement sponsor who looks after me as well. So I've got some good fuel behind me as well. But yeah, it's just about having frequent food, small amounts, plenty of fluids, not too much. And lots of pizza as well. Pizza's very good on the way.
Is it? Oh, well, maybe I will do a bit of it with you then.
So I look forward to it.
Yeah, okay. There's no way of broaching this. You talked about drinking a lot of water. What's the toilet situation like?
Well, yeah, it can be a tricky one at times, but when you've got to go, you've got to go. So yeah, it's just a matter of finding the nearest bush or nearest hedge and just popping behind, make sure there's nobody about. Look left, look right, make sure there's no police cars coming past, and you're all right. Yeah, just be careful, and yeah.
I'm so sorry. What a heartfelt story. Then tales of extreme physical endurance, and then I ask about how you go for a week.
Oh no, yeah, I mean, somebody did mention a few weeks ago why not live stream the whole thing, and I says I don't think really people want to see me from start to finish with everything what goes on, but each to their own. Yeah.
So as you say, Gaynor will be there with you. Your support team will be there with you. Do you talk? Do you chat to them, or are you just focused when you do it?
Yeah, I mean, I do get into my own zone. there does become a point where obviously you do need a kick up the backside for certain reasons. You know, when you're knackered or when you've got blisters, because blisters will happen at some point. But yeah, it's just a matter. All I ask for is, you know, in my support team is keep talking about my daughter, keep talking about the reasons why. And you've got to have some banter as well, some camaraderie, because it's a long way not to talk. So you've got to have some fun and make it as enjoyable as possible. But yeah, I mean, for the team as well, it's going to be a tough one. You know, I've got 2 drivers, Gainer, but you know, for those guys to do what they're doing as well for 2 days, 2 nights, it's going to be a tough one as well. But as a team, we'll plough on and get through it.
And if people want to donate, then they can do is justgiving.com/Manchester2022. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah. Thank you very much. So yeah, I've set myself a £10,000 target this year, which I think is okay for what I'm doing. The hardest thing as a non-celebrity, as just the average Joe off the street, is the publicity. Which is with this subject as well. It's so difficult. You're probably one of the first people, Jim, to really show me some true love and care and support, as you always do over the years. So, you know, thank you to yourself. If there was more people like yourself in this world, you know, the world would be a better place. But yeah, it's I've got a £10,000 target. So I'd just like to ask, you know, everybody, every dad, every parent, grandparent, if they could just spare a couple of quid and just share it to everybody. It would have been quite easy to say, well, this year I could sit in a bath of beans for 24 hours, but that's not what I do. You know, I'm prepared to go through hell for everybody's families. And I just don't want to be raising £2,000 or £3,000, which is good, but it would be for me this year and the charity. I just really want to smash this target for Alex and the team. So, you know, I just ask everybody, please get behind me, your friends, your family, everybody. And if we all do this together, we can do this.
So it's justgiving.com/Manchester2022. I don't think £10,000 is too much of an ask for what you are doing. It's just absolutely ludicrous and amazing and just fantastic. So if people can help, if you can afford to, it's a tough time, obviously, then please do. Payday's in a couple of days for a lot of people, so, you know, or tomorrow maybe. And also I'll put the link into the comments here. We've got this one from Dan that says, I'm in an utter state of admiration for Ben. Actually, I think he should live stream it. That'd be such a compelling story to follow. But yeah, you know, you'd have to see the wheeze. So, you know, can you pixelate it when you live stream it? I don't know. And Matthew says, please get behind Ben. I'm one of the support drivers. Really sad the lack of support so far. See, it's tough, isn't it? It's a tough market in order to get your message out there.
Yeah. I mean, this is a very good example. I think I've told you, I may have told yourself this before, Jim, but a couple of weeks ago, there was a very well-known footballer in the media with one of his babies did die. Our charity was approached for comments, and myself as a dad for information or just general, you know, a bit of feedback on things and just some background from a dad's point of view. My charity inbox was full of emails from journalists. I spoke to one of them, give them my you know, personal thoughts on how it could be for a dad. I asked the journalist if they could support me for what I'm doing in July, and their answer was because I am not high profile enough, they cannot support me. But I was good enough to help with a story which was in the national media. So that's how sad it is, really, as a normal dad, you know, who was just doing his best for everybody. And it's not easy. It's not easy for me to go and do this, you know. Every weekend when I'm out training, I'm in tears because I just miss my daughter so much, you know. And people just think, oh, he's just doing it. Just a lot of people think, oh, he's just doing it because a bit of fun or whatever. But I take this so seriously, and Yeah, you know, at the moment I've got not as much support as I would like, but hopefully, you know, I've got to stay positive, and you know, just people like yourself who get behind me. You know, you personally, Jim, are worth a million journalists for me. You're a good friend, and just thank you very much.
Oh, well, thank you. And if they want to pay me the wages of a million journalists, then that would be, you know, fine.
It would.
I'd take that. Yeah. So yeah, if you can support Ben, then please do. Let's talk about some of the other challenges that you've done. Then, so you've done the Yorkshire Three Peaks. Just seems like, you know, the easy one to do. You did Coast to Coast as well, didn't you?
I did do, yes. That was 2019. So yeah, I walked from Morecambe to Bridlington. That was 140 mile. And I did that in a UK record time, the fastest person to do that in 45 hours, coast to coast. So yeah, that was the year after Calipatera's death. So it was very, very tough to do. But I got my trainers on virtually straight away, and I had to do something just to try and keep me going.
It's interesting, isn't it? Do you think that these challenges are helpful for your mental health? We were talking earlier to Kristian about jumping in the sea, and he was talking about the people that he sees going in the sea throughout the winter. They're doing this sort of, and that is an extreme thing to do as well, to jump in the icy sea. And a lot of them have, you know, suffer from things like anxiety and depression, and they find that it really helps them sort of center themselves a little bit. Is that the same with you with exercise?
It is, yeah. So when I'm out walking, it does allow me to go and channel my grief, so to speak. So it does help with my mental well-being with what I do. But then again, because I have the constant pressure of the money not being raised, that has an impact as well. It would be so nice just to be able to prepare, train, go and do my event without the upset and stress of not raising the money. So on one side, it does help to be able to channel my grief, but on the other side, because of the difficulty of raising the money as a non-celebrity, and because of the subject, there's always that pressure as well, which for your mental well-being, that does have an impact as well. So you've just got to be very, very careful and just keep talking to everybody, you know, talk to other dads, talk to people who can just listen and care and show love, and just give you a big hug at the end of the day.
It's strange, isn't it? Strange that people shy away from reporting, from talking about it. That can't be healthy for a society, can it?
No. I mean, if you go onto the internet and put in baby death in the search, and for the last few weeks since the footballer, there's just been nothing in the media. And you know, in the UK, every October, we do have a baby loss awareness week. But in my personal opinion, to make any difference on this taboo, we need to have an awareness week every week. And I think even when I'm dead and gone, and in 100 years after, I just don't think society will change for this subject. I speak about this now, but it's like when Calipatera died. You know, most people just hear what I'm talking about and cross over the road or cross over the street. So it's just for me the world's biggest taboo subject, and you do tend to find the only people who will talk about it are the people who've experienced something.
Of course, yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, best of luck with it. Whereabouts are you with your training now? What will you be doing tomorrow in terms of getting ready?
Yes, I've got another day at work tomorrow, but after work at 5 o'clock, I'll be getting my trainers back on, going for a circuit, doing some core work as well, just to strengthen my core section. My partner as well this week has started me off on a sports masseur as well to help me get my legs ready, which is going to be a big help as well. But then come Saturday, it's back to the big miles, so 50, 60 miles again come Saturday. Steady away and just crack on the best I can.
60 miles steady away.
Steady away.
Yeah. God, how many steps do you count your steps, by the way?
No. I just get up, go out, and crack on with it. Yeah, just
Oh, God, if I had
yeah.
money to waste, I would send you a Fitbit because I'd be fascinated to know how many
Yeah.
steps you're doing.
Yeah. But yeah, you've just got to get on with it. Just get your bag on and do what you need to do. So yeah, you just got to go out and do what you need to do. And yeah, for the reasons why, for my daughter and for Alex and the team. And yeah, it's all about love. And our children, the children are the most precious gift anywhere. And I'm sure as a dad, all dads, all mums would do anything for the love of their children.
Of course. Thank you so much, Ben. Really appreciate it. It's justgiving.com/Manchester2022. Matthew's pointing out that you're doing the 3 Peaks again in September. So support for that as well if you want to help out. And this is the route. That is what he's walking non-stop. So 2 days, 11 hours would be if you literally did it without stopping, yeah?
So yeah, Google does say 60 hours. But I'm looking to do something very, very special this year for my daughter and Alex. So yeah, just watch this space, and I'm hoping to do something very special and prove all the doubters wrong once again in the style of Eddie the Eagle. You just got to crack on with it, and yeah, there's nothing better than proving the doubters wrong.
Ben, thank you very much for joining us today.
My pleasure. Thank you.
This is the Dadless Soul Sessions. We'll be back again at the end of next month. Last Thursday of the month is when we do this. Don't forget our other events are Dads and Kids Playdate in Worthing this Saturday, where you can let your crafting go wild. There's also the Dads Only Meetup, which is happening next month. And all the details are at dadlesssoul.com. Go to the events page there. And yeah, thank you very much for joining us. And I will speak to you soon.